Hi guys, welcome back to the Way. So today I'll be showing you guys how I made the t-shirt I posted some months ago. So we'll be needing acrylic yarns, tape roll, hook size 4 mm, yarn cutter, and a stitch markers. So let's dive right in. So we'll be needing 2 strands of the yarn. We'll make a slip knot, insert our hook, and make the number of chains we want. So firstly, we will have taken the measurement of the shirt you want. The measurements we'll be needing are the chest, length, armhole, sleeve, neck. So now I've made the number of chains I need, so the size of the t-shirt I want. So now I'm going to measure it for you guys to see. So the chest of the t-shirt I'm making is 48. So I made the chains and I doubled it and I measured it, giving me 24, which is the half of it. So in this t-shirt, I'm walking around. Same goes to most of the shirts I make. I love walking around, walking in rounds. So I'm going to connect the chains together using a slip stitch. When I'm done connecting, I'm going to start the first row. So I'm going to make 2 chains, which stand as the foundation chain for double crochet. I'm going to skip the first chain, go into the next one, and make my double crochet. So I'm going to continue making double crochets into each and every chains till I get to the end of the chain in which I made a slip stitch the other time. So carefully keep making your double crochet into each and every chains. Note, make sure you count your chains when you're done making your chains to the number of inches you want, and make sure you divide them equally into 2, because we are working in rounds, so we have the front and back all together. So make sure you count them and divide them into 2. Write it somewhere in your note. So now I've gotten to the end of the chains and I've made a last double crochet. I'm going to make a slip stitch into the chains I first made, which is the foundation chain, into the second one. Make a slip stitch. So when I'm done, I'm going to make my foundation chain, which is 2. I'm going to turn my work counterclockwise. Remember, I'm working in rounds. Even though I'm working in rounds, that doesn't mean that I'm working rounds outside. I'm working in rounds, but I'm going to turn my work counterclockwise. So now I'm going to skip the first one in which I made the first stitch and go into the next one and make another double crochet there. So make 1 chain, skip 1 chain under, go into the next one and make double crochet. So I'm going to make double crochet into the next one now and chain 1, skip 1 and go into the next one. So this is the pattern for this t-shirt. This is what we are going to keep doing till we get to the end of this row. So I'll meet you guys when I get to the end of this row. So at the end of the row, I'm going to chain 1 and skip the last chain and make a slip stitch into the first stitch. So as you can see guys, our first row pattern is different from the second row. So this is the pattern we keep following for our t-shirt. So now let's make the third row. So you're going to make your foundation chain, which is your first stitch. Turn your work counterclockwise again. So we're going to repeat the first row pattern. So now you're going to insert your hook into the chain. Yes, into the chain, not the chain space. Not chain space. You are inserting into the chain. So I'm going to insert my ingredient into the chain and make my double crochet. So I will keep making double crochets into every loops, including the chain loops too. So I'm repeating this first row in the third row. So for the fourth row, I'm going to repeat the second row. So it will keep going like that. So guys, let me show you the illustration of the shirt we're making currently. So this is the shirt we're making right now. And we have these dotted lines to this base line. So we're going to work from the base to that dotted lines because the front pattern carries the lapel and the collar. And note, we have our sleeves there too. So we're going to work from that base to that dotted lines because we need to give space for our sleeve and space for the front to carry the lapel and the collar. So I'm going to continue making our patterns. So I'm going to make our patterns from the base to that point that has the dotted lines because we need to separate the front and the back because we need armholes for our sleeves. And we also need the front to carry the lapel and the collar. So I'll meet you guys when I'm done making it. So guys, now I'm done making these patterns from the base to the dotted lines. So now it's time for me to give space for my armhole and space for my front to carry the lapel and the collar. So I'm going to take a measurement of this. So from the base to that dotted line, I have 17 inches. Remember the other time I told you guys that make sure you know the number of chains you have all around because it carries the front and the back. So I'm going to divide this round stitches into two, which is the front and the back, and I'm going to separate them using my stitch marker. Make sure you know the number of chains you have and make sure you divide them equally. So I'll put the stitch marker in the first angle. I'm going to put the other one in the next angle, so which differentiates the front from the back. So when I'm done doing that now, I'm going to start working on the back of this t-shirt because the back doesn't carry what do you call it, lapel, so it's only the front that carries it. So I'm going to crochet this back all the way up. So the full length for this shirt is 28. The 17 inches carries it from the base to the armhole point, which is 17 inches. So from the armhole upward, we have 10 inches. So the remaining 1 inch is for the band. So I'm going to cut off this thread because I want to start working on the other side of the shins. I'm going to make my slip knot again. I'm going to insert my hook into the next space. So I'm going to work from this point. I'm going to show you guys now. So I'm going to work from this point, yes, to this point, to the other point from the other side. Yes, I'm going to work to that double crochet point. So the other one at the other side is for the front. So this is the back part in which I'm working on. So I'm going to insert my hook now with my knot, and I'm going to continue making the same pattern we've been making since. So I'm going to continue making the pattern now. So make sure you divide them equally, and when you divide them, if you have just one double crochet before your chain and before your one chain and your next two chain, make sure you do it just like that. So you guys already know that I love hiding my tails so much, so that is me hiding my tails over there. So what I did the first time before I added my tails here was I made my foundation shape, which started at my first stitch, and the next one I had a chain space. So after the two double crochet, after the two foundation chain, I made extra one to making 3. So the extra one represent the chain space. Before I now skip and I continue with my 2 double crochet, 1 chain, just like that. So I'm going to continue making this pattern following upward because my armhole, the measurement for my armhole is 10 inches. like I said the other time, that from the base to the armhole point 17, armhole point upward is 10, everything 27. My band is 1 inch. So I'm going to continue making this till I get to this very point. So when I'm done making this, I'll show you guys how it looks. So I've gotten to the point in which I have my stitch marker. I'm going to make my foundation shade and I'm going to turn counterclockwise. Remember to turn. So I'm going to continue making the double crochet into each and every stitches. So for this one, my foundation shade doesn't start as a stitch over here because I need a solid stitch for my armhole space. So foundation chain is standing and I made another 1 chain which stands at the first stitch. So I'm going to continue making this till I get to 10 inches in height. So I'm going to show you guys when I get there. So guys, I'm done crocheting up to 10 inches. So I'm done with the back pattern. Now it's time for me to start the front pattern. So for the front pattern, according to our sketch the other time, the front pattern we have the lapel and we have the collar space. Yes, because that is where our collar is going to come down. So the measurement in which we need for this is our neck depth. So we're going to take our neck depth, how deep you want your neck to be. That's what is called in neck depth. So yeah, I'm making my slip knots down. So I'm going to take my tape rule now to measure my neck depth. So the neck depth in which I want for my shirt is 5 inches. So now I'm going to count how many rows I have before the 5 inches. So when I'm done counting, now I know that I'm going to make that number of rows. So make sure you count and write it down in your book, because you're going to make the number of rows to that very point before you now start your lapel, because my neck depth is 5 inches. So now let's work from the 5 inches downward, and the remaining 5 inches will work a lapel into it. So now I'm going to attach my slip knot. I'm going to start making the patterns. So when I get to the 5 inches, I'm going to come back and show you guys the next thing you have to do. So now we've got to the 5 inches. So you are left with the remaining 5 inches. So you count your rows also to be sure you are right. So now it's time for us to make our lapel. So I've divided this front pattern into 2. So I put the stitch marker at the middle to differentiate the right hand side from the left hand side. So when I'm done doing this now, I want to count a number of chains for a lapel. So from the middle, I counted a number of chains to the right. So I'm going to count the other number of chains to the left. So now I'm going to remove the stitch markers in the middle. So the number of stitches I left for my lapel is 6 stitches. So the lapel is 2 inches from the 5 inches we have. So now I'm going to count the number of rows I have from my 2 inches. So I'm going to work to that part before I make my neck slant. So now I'm going to work to that very point before I make the slant. So we have for the right hand side and the left hand side. So let's work with the one we have at the left hand side first. So if you are still with me to this very point and you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please kindly do. Make sure you like and leave a comment. So if you have any questions concerning this t-shirt, make sure you ask me in the comment section. I'm going to reply you. So we've made the number of rows before our slant. So this number of rows stands for the lapel. So as you can see now, we have few number of rows left to make the slant. So we have 7 rows to make the slant. So as you can see, we have green stitch marker over there. So we're going to make a slant to meet it. So in making this slant, we're going to make 2 decreases on each row on that particular side only. So we're going to join 2 decreases together, which is 1 decrease, the other one join it together, making another decrease. So you are decreasing 2 decreases on a row each for 6 rows rather. So for the 7th row, we will make just 1 decrease. So now let's start. So this is the way it looks now. This is a clearer view for you to see what I'm talking about. So now let's start making the decreases. So I'm going to insert my hook back and I'm going to make a foundation chain. So I'm supposed to have 2 stitches here with foundation chain and the first stitch, but I skipped the first stitch in which that means I've made a decrease with it already. I'm going to make a decrease with this and this one and the next one. So which means automatically I've made 2 decreases already. So I'm going to continue making the double crochets in the loops. So the reason why I have to do is because I don't want that part to be too thick. I mean that part in the first stitch. I don't want it to be too thick because the foundation chain is standing there and me still inserting under the foundation chain, making a decrease with the next one. It will be the stitches will be too much over there. So that is the reason why I have to skip the first one, the one right under the foundation chain. Worked and what did they say? Next decreases. So now I've worked to that very point now. So I'm going to go back and put my stitch marker over there. So for me to know that I've started my decrease there. So I'm putting my stitch marker at the last row I made before I started this decrease. So it's just a way for me to know that I've made one already. So I'm going to turn my counterclockwise now, and I'm going to walk back to that part that has my that has my decreases. So I'm going to continue making my 2 double crochet, chain, skip, 2 double crochet, which is the next pattern we're working with. So now let's keep working till we get to the edge over there. So at the end of the row, I'm going to be left with 4 stitches because I need to make a decrease with the 4 stitches. So now I'm going to yarn over, insert, pull through, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. Do the same thing for the next one, pull through the 3 loops at once. So that is the way of making a decrease. So I'm going to yarn over and insert into the first one, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, insert into the next one, pull through the remaining 3 loops all together. So now I've made another 2 decreases at the edge of this row. So I'm going to make foundation chain again and make another decrease into 4. So I'm going to skip the first one again, that first one, go into the second one and make a decrease with the second and the third one. Automatically I've reduced 2 stitches already. Can you see? Can you see now? So automatically I've reduced. Can you see we have 3 and I have just 1 at the top there, which means I've reduced 2 stitches already. So with this, the edge of the slant won't be too thick. I'm going to continue making my patterns. I'm going to continue till I get to the 6th row. So I'll be left with the last row, which is the 7th row. So like I said before, I'm going to make just 1 decrease on the last row because with that, I'll be able to get to the point in which I had a green marker at the back pattern. So now I've made the 6 rows now. So I'm going to make just 1 decrease here. So make my foundation chain. This stand as my stitch also. So remember I always keep the first one, which stand as first decrease. So I will skip it automatically and I will continue working from the second one all through. Remember it's just 1 decrease, so it's just 1 we are making, not 2. So just continue working. till I get to the end of this row. So when I get to the end of this row, I'm going to use single crochet to join into the back pattern, and I will show you guys how it looks. So guys, this is how it looks after joining the front pattern to the back pattern. So I'm going to do the other side of it, and also I'm going to do it this same way, but I'm going to do it in this middle direction. So I'm going to make the number of rows for the lapel and make the slant also. We'll join into the part, and I will come back and show you how to do the sleeve. So I'm going to do one part of the sleeve off camera and come back and show you how to do the second part of the sleeve. So this is the first sleeve that I made. So we're going to make the second one together. So all the things I just did was just for me to crochet into the space and length for the sleeve all round, but counterclockwise, like we've been doing counterclockwise. So just crochet into every spaces round counterclockwise. And for the band, we did not make it counterclockwise, we just made it round using single crochet. So now let's do the second hand of the sleeves. I'm going to show you guys how I actually achieve that first sleeve. So for the second sleeve, just take your yarn, your hook, and also we go right to the middle. Here's the down parts of the sleeve space. So I'm going to take my yarn. So normally we're supposed to make a knot, but I don't like making knots like that, so I just insert the yarn using my hook. So now we're going to chain 3. So when you're done chaining 3, so I love adding my yarns also, you all know. So we are going to keep making these patterns round. So the reason why we chain 3 was because we want chain one of these 3 chains to form the space. You guys remember that we always do 2 double crochet, 1 chain, 2 double crochet. So this is the same pattern we're starting with on the sleeve. So I've made the 2 double crochet, I made 1 chain, so I'm making the next 2 double crochet. So you're going to continue doing that. So just note that where you're supposed to make all these double crochets is quite visible, as you can see now. So you see that's parts in which I made double crochet all the way around. Those are the parts in which I'm making my 2 double crochets. Can you see? So I just cut off the excess. So those parts in which I made just 1 double crochet, I was skipping those parts. Can you see? So just make your 1 chain now. Skip the parts, going to the next one. So we are going to crochet this all the way around. So when I get back to the starting point, I'm going to show you guys what to do next. So now we're already at the end of the row. So I'm going to chain 1, then I'm going to make 1 double crochet beside that foundation chain stitch. So I'm going to make a slip stitch to connect it. So after making the slip stitch, you will see that this will form our first row. So it's complete now. So make your foundation chain, 2 chain, turn your work counterclockwise, and now start making double crochets into each and every loops. So you're making double crochets into each all round. So this is how you're going to continue making this sleeve till you get to your desired length. So any length you want, maybe 8 inches, maybe you want 8 inches long, you will do it to 8 inches. But if it's all 8 inches you want for your sleeve and you still want to make the sleeve band, make sure you just remove 0.75 or 0.5 to make the band. So with that, you will complete the sleeve. So now let's show you how to make the lapel now. So this is how to make the lapel. So you're going to make sure our stitch markers are placed correctly and mark the point. So you're going to insert your hook into the very first point over there. So guys, you're going to insert your hook into the loop space before we start making the slant. So attach your yarn and make 1 foundation chain. So the reason why I'm making foundation chain is because I'm working single crochet all the way down. So make single crochet into the very first stitch again. So foundation chain is standing there and your first stitch is standing. So continue making your single crochets all the way down. So you already know the space in which you're making your single crochets. It's just like space in which you made your armhole, like your sleeve when you're working the other time. You're replacing it with single crochet, not double crochet. So just continue making your single crochets till you get to the end of this lapel row. So guys, if you're still watching me and you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, why? Please support me. Share my video to your friends and families. Okay, so now we're almost at the end of the row. So what we're going to do next, can you see how it looks, the single crochet row? So we're going to make a single crochet into the last stitch there, which is here. So after you're done making your single crochet, this is what you want to do now. You're going to make a slip stitch into the back loop of this space you left the other time. So you're making a slip stitch into the back loop. So make your slip stitch. So to start the next row, you make a slip stitch into the next back loop. That slip stitch you just made just stands as your foundation chain and your connection to start the next row. So you turn your work and start crocheting all the way up. So you're going to make your single crochets all the way up. So when you get to the upper part again, you make your foundation chain. So when you're done making your foundation chain, you turn your work counterclockwise and you will crochet all the way down. So now we're already at the upper parts here. So make the last one, make the last single crochet, then make your foundation chain and turn your work counterclockwise and crochet all the way down. So when you get to the down part also, you're going to connect it to the back loop. So to start the next row, you connect it to the next back loop. Then you turn your counterclockwise and start it. So immediately you are done with the first lapel, we will start the second one. So we'll be attaching this second one to the front loop. Can you see all these front loops? So just the same way we'll be attaching this first lapel, the same way we'll be attaching the second one to the front loops. So I'm going to complete the second lapel now and come back and show you guys how to do the collar. So thank you guys. If you're still watching till now, you guys are so amazing. Thank you so much. Make sure you follow, like, and leave a comment. So now I'm done making the second lapel. Can you see they are resting over each other? Can you see we've connected them together? They are resting. So we've succeeded in making the two lapels. So now we want to start making the collars now. So from that edge now, that I have my yarn, I'm going to start making my single crochets all the way around. When I get to that tip, I will go back again. So now just make your single crochet, make your foundation chain. So for this collar, this is what we're going to do. I'm not going to make my foundation chain to stand there. I'm going to make the foundation chain to stand as a stitch. The reason why I want to stand as a stitch is because I want the edge of the collar to be very, very straight. I don't want any loops like that. So the foundation chain will stand as a stitch on this collar part. So just keep making your single crochets all the way around. And you know that when foundation chain is standing as a stitch, you're not going to make a stitch into the first space. You already know. So foundation chain will stand there. So just keep crocheting all the way. So where we attach the lapel, you're not going to make a single crochet there. You're going to skip it because you've already worked into it. So just skip it and continue making your single crochets all the way around till you get to the edge of the second lapel. So guys, already at the edge of the second lapel, so I'm going to make our foundation chain. So we're making two foundation chains. I forgot to tell you guys the other time, make your two foundation chains, skip the first one, go into the next stitch and make your single crochets all the way back to the first lapel. So this is how you continue making rows or single crochets till you notice that it has formed enough collar length that you want. So for this project, I made 14 rows of single crochet that gave me the collar I actually wanted. So I just keep crocheting all the way around counterclockwise. So guys, if you're still watching me to this very point, I really appreciate you guys. Just tag me when you're done making your own shirts. I will see the outcome of it. So keep viewing my channel to see more of our tutorial videos. Make sure you like, comment, and share to your friends. Okay, so guys, I'm done making the collar. Can you see the hair? It's so straight and smooth. So this is how my own collar looks like. So I'm done, guys. So that is how it looks. So I just had to bend it to form the collar. So guys, what do you think? Write it in the comment section and tell me what you think. And also make sure you tag me when you're done making yours. Thank you guys.